Wherever you live next to and interact with wildlife. These are conversations with people about their interactions with the natural history of Rangihaeata in Golden Bay. So Cynthia, tell us about the fur seals, the New Zealand fur seals at the end of Rangihaeata Head.
Well, before I speak specifically about the fur seals that we've got here, I'd quite like to go back to some of the background. And if you look at New Zealand, prior to human habitation or people coming from England to kill and take fur seals for pelts and for meat, there were probably around 2 million fur seals in New Zealand. And if you were to look at the population now, it would be around 10% of that. So they were on the brink of extinction at some point, due not only to people who came here for that fur and meat trade, also Māori took seal for food. So now we've probably got around 200,000, maybe a bit more.
But they're increasing.
They are. They're increasing at around 20-25% and a year.
Wow, that's quite a big increase.
Yeah, and the only area where they're not increasing is on the west coast, and that's probably due to the hoki fishery, where mature females are trapped as bycatch when trawling and drown. And DOC are keeping a close watch on that and compiling data. And when we talk about an increase, we're talking about seals now moving to the North Island, where they were eliminated, and the greatest percentage of the population is actually in Southland. But we're fortunate. We've got, I think, 2 sites. One close to us at Separation Point in Abel Tasman National Park, and then we've got the Whauriki site. And that is, I think, where our seals come from.
Right.
I'm not 100% sure on that, but there's no reason why they couldn't come from Separation Point.
It's a lot nearer, because otherwise you have to go round Farewell Spit to get here.
Yes, yeah. Well, that's true. Perhaps I need to be
anyway, we do get
mindful
them.
of that.
We do get them here in Rangihaeata.
Yes.
They don't breed here.
No, I mean they're regular haul. It's a regular haul out site over the summer and over spring, and it's a time I think when non-breeding juveniles are here, or perhaps the males that have been pushed out, because often it's one large bull seal who will father all of the pups.
And that's quite often what you find at the end of a headland, isn't it? One bull seal or 2. So why do they haul out?
Well, to sleep.
It's
to
just
rest.
a sleeping thing.
Yes, yeah. I mean, they can spend, 7 to 10 days at sea feeding, and they feed at night too, which is really interesting.
What's the main food?
Well, it'll be fish, but it won't, and squid. It won't be the fish that recreational fishers target, and that's one of the reasons recreational fishers need to perhaps be a bit more respectful.
Right. So they're not going to take things like snapper?
No, they're not. They take species that are closer inshore, and I think that the ban on set netting that we have now in Golden Bay, and must have been in place for 3 or 4 years, I can't remember, it's a while now, would have increased their food supply. I'm quite sure of that, because you've seen set nets pulled in and the waste that's on the beach, the fish that people don't want. And you end up feeding a population of southern blackback gulls when you do that. So I think there's probably a better food supply for New Zealand fur seal on the Golden Bay coastline now. And
if you haven't been to Rangihaeata headland, it's a lovely headland, and there's that small strip of coastal woodland there with a few big trees in there. I'm not sure what they are, but I think there's some karaka there, and there's a beautiful old kawhai there as well. But right on the end, you've got wonderful rocks. I know we've got some little blue penguins nesting along there. And then, if you do walk along there, you might think, well, there'll be a seal somewhere in the rocks. But often, they're right up on the top. And that's, I can't understand how they get up there.
No.
Because they're big animals.
You smell them before you see them. That's the truth of it.
So how on earth do they get so high up on those rocks when they've only got flippers?
Okay, so the New Zealand fur seal is much closer related to the New Zealand sea lion. And what they can do is, first of all, they've got ears. They're eared seals.
Right.
And their flippers, like I believe at one time they were actually land animals, a long time ago.
Yeah.
And so the front flippers are for swimming. And if you see underwater film, you'll notice that they have the back flippers tucked in, and they use their front flippers to swim. And when they're on land, it's their back flippers that they use, and they can apparently rotate them. And so, you know, there's probably some evidence that they were land-based at some point, and they've learnt, you know, to live in the sea and to use land for breeding and resting. Yeah.
And anybody who thinks a seal on land is a slow-moving creature, think again.
Yes.
Yeah, because
they can chase you.
Yeah. I know I was walking up there once, and I went through the rocks, a shortcut, and I nearly trod on one of these big seals, these bull seals, and did it bark. It was almost like a dog. It was just telling me, it was telling me, you know, I'm here, keep away. And it certainly did, because they've got big, powerful jaws. Yeah.
I've had the same thing happen to me at night when I've been down there with a head torch and listening for penguins, and I've come through between those same rocks.
Yeah.
So it must be a very popular kind of haul out for bull seals anyway, and big ones. And the same thing, it kind of lurched. I think it got as much of a fright as I did, actually. Lurched and made a sound, and I just ran backwards as quickly as I could. And I thought, I don't think I'm going to do this again, and if I do, I'm going to be very wary that there could be seals resting up here at night.
One final thing, I mean, I've been up there, and a seal has swum along the estuary, because the headland is part of the old Takaka River estuary before they canalised it. And this seal's followed me, and it had its flipper up, and I never knew what that was until I read what you said about it.
I mean, I've seen it many, many times when I've been out kayaking. And they've come up and they've kind of rolled and put their flipper up, and you think that they're just playing.
That's what I thought.
But in fact, it's an important part of them keeping comfortable. Whether it's in winter and they're trying to keep warmer, because they've got a lot of blood vessels in that part of their body, or whether it's summer and they're trying to cool off.
So it's part of what you call their thermoregulation system.
Absolutely.
So if they put the flipper out, they're trying to cool off if it's hot.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
It is.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you mention them being in the old Takaka River, they do at times go right up to the Waitapu Bridge. I've seen posts on social media of there being a seal, you know, there.
They're amazing creatures, and it's great that their numbers are increasing, and it's great that we have a few here in Rangihaeata.
Yes, and that we get to enjoy them on our beaches.
Yeah, indeed. Thanks, Cynthia.